The lance is an awesome weapon in Monster Hunter World, and a lot of you guys are enjoying my tutorials, so thank you for that. Here are my top 5 favorite lances if you're looking into getting into it and want some endgame goals. Again, keep in mind the release date of this video. We'll be doing an update one maybe half a year or a year later once they add more weapons. Number 5 goes to Basil. Now normally I would put a blast type lance way higher in my list, but there's some really good lances, so hear me out as we go through this video, but this one is solid. 460 attack is pretty good. The sharpness leaves much to be desired though, especially for a weapon that hits a lot. So this one requires that you use handicraft. I would say that it requires at least a +3. If you can get +4 or higher, even better. But it is blast, which means that because you're going to be poking so often and very calculated on where you want to hit, this thing is going to be awesome for breaking off certain parts and just doing optimal damage to wherever you want to do it. Number 4 goes to the Azure Rathalos, or just the Rathalos line of weapons. This is one that's always been traditionally very strong in the series, and World is no exception. There isn't one special thing that makes this thing jump out, it's more of the complete package. 437 is very decent attack, the 20% affinity is amazing, especially considering that the lance is very calculated, so you're going to be hitting weak spots. So pair this with something like Weakness Exploit, and that affinity boost is just going to make it even better. Does have fire as a nice bonus if you're going up against something that is weak to fire, and a slot. The sharpness could be a little bit better, so you might want to pair it with either handicraft or protective polish, but overall this weapon is just very solid. Coming in at number 3 is Dogon. Now this thing is definitely not the highest in attack, it's 391, but it does come with white straight out of the box, which is something that you can't praise enough for something like Lance. Again, like Insect Glaive, this is something that hits often, so it's going to eat you to sharpness really fast, and sort of affinity is kind of the meta game, at least for a lot of people. So affinity 30% is just wonderful. It doesn't actually have element out of the box, which means you can pair this with the non-elemental weapon boost and increase its power by 10%, and that's another reason why it's ranking so high on my list. Obviously, looking at that sharpness meter down below, you do not want to use handicraft because you're not going to get anything out of it, which gives you a lot of room for whatever skills you want. So this lance definitely gets this spot because of its versatility. On the flip side, Vulva is my number 2, and this is something that you want to use with handicraft. 460 is top class attack, no problem with the affinity because it's 0%, 270 dragon, which is actually really nice, Elder Seal average, and a nice level 2 slot. This thing is really powerful if you consider you can get it into white sharpness with that attack. Plus, to be honest, Monster Hunter is a game, so I'm not always min-maxing everything, and for me, the design and the name Love's Sorrow is just too good. I love Vulva, it's one of my favorite new monsters, and this weapon is definitely something that I think captures that. Plus, as a lance user, I really like trident sort of spears, so that design, every time I love it. And of course, this sounds like a broken record, and you're going to hear this often, but my number 1 is going to be Gigante. This is kind of a thing in Monster Hunter. Usually the flagship monster has a very solid line of weapons, which are by standard the best ones probably for every weapon. But once you start going and caring about elements and stuff like that, then, or specific builds, I think the other lances or weapons can take over. But out of the box, Gigante's got it all. A lance is a weapon that eats through sharpness, so having that much blue is just wonderful. No need for handicraft, so you can do whatever skills you want, go all the way up to guard level 5, have a blast. No problem, no minus affinity, it's got 150 dragon as a nice little bonus, high Elder Seal, which again, if you're going to be farming those Elder Dragons in late game for decorations, that is what you're going to want, and it comes with a slot. There really is not one bad thing about this lance. I love the design. However, I will note that the form right before this, the design is really not very interesting, so I think what they're trying to do is make you really want to make that final form, but really just a great lance. And here is my honorable mention. And that, I hate to keep giving this stuff to the final bosses, but Xeno'jiiva gets my final mention because it's just overall really solid. 391 attack with white sharpness. You're going to want to use this with handicraft because that is definitely not enough white. 15% affinity, which is great. The dragon, 180, and those slots, man. Lance is a weapon unlike the Insect Glaive, which can really benefit from armor skills. Stuff like guard plus or, less stamina usage and stuff like that. So having slots on a lance is actually a really good thing. Anyways, those were my favorite lances. Which are yours? Let me know down in the comments below which lance you feel deserves a better mention or higher on my list, or the ones that you like and why. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, happy hunting.